I'm a hip young millennial, I use emojis, this movie was clearly made for me, right? Not exactly. I'm John Hayeck, and welcome to my movie thoughts. The Candy Crush Just Dance Dropbox Facebook Twitter Snapchat Instagram movie. I mean, the Emoji movie that had way too much product placement in it. So guys, this dumpster fire train wreck catastrophe of a movie was released this past weekend in theaters. It's already made about $25 million, which means probably we're going to see an Emoji movie too. Can't wait for that. But you guys have probably heard the epically bad reviews for this thing, no matter how much money it made. It has like an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. People are just saying it's the worst thing ever. I will tell you this. This is a really, really bad movie, but it's not the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. That being said, let's get into the rant. So the Emoji movie follows Gene, this emoji who he's supposed to be the meh emoji, like he's supposed to be kind of indifferent to things, but he's happy, he's sad, he's like hearty sometimes, he feels all these different emotions, and that is bad because you're supposed to be just one thing in this society. So he leaves, so he realizes this, and then the government realizes you can't be more than just one emotion, you have to be just your one emoji, so we're gonna track you down and we're gonna kill you in front of everybody, including your family. Gene realizes he's gonna be tracked down and killed, so he escapes Textopolis, finds the jailbreak emoji, who is then going to try to upload him to the cloud, reprogram him there, send him back to society, and then he can prove to everybody that he does not need to be killed because he feels more than one emotion. That's the premise of this movie, and I am not making a single part of that up. Alright, so the first thing that really just failed in this movie is the humor. So the thing about kids' movies is like, oh, you're going on your adventure, like you're trying to get from point A to point B, and the idea of it is like, oh, you're supposed to have like big, loud, and rambunctious things that kids are going to really enjoy, right? And I see what they were going for because a lot of movies that have like, you know, big, loud, and rambunctious animation end with a clever joke that like kids will be like, oh, ha ha ha, like things were moving around and then you said a joke and that was funny. In this movie, characters are just kind of big, loud, and rambunctious and they're just moving around screen because they're moving around screen. There's no rhyme or reason and there's no joke at the end of them moving around a lot to warrant them moving around a lot. It just felt like it was visual noise, basically. There were no jokes at the end of it. In regards to the humor also, there's some really weird adult humor they were trying to sneak in there, like they were doing movie references all the time, like one character had like a jelly bean, he's like, my precious, and I'm like, that doesn't really work for the context of this movie. It's just supposed to reference a movie that's supposed to make adults think, oh, haha, that's funny, but it's not executed in a way that feels like it's funny. It's just executed in a way that makes it feel like it's lazy, or like it's just written in there to make adults laugh, like it's forcing the joke down your throat. In movies like the Lego Batman movie, the Batman is like self-referential to the past like 75 years history of Batman, and that's really good because it works for the universe that he is in. In the Emoji movie, when you're just trying to reference every single popular movie to make an impact on parents and make them laugh, that just feels really uncomfortable for parents that are trying to connect to everything and just seeing that your movie was written really poorly. Because, again, you're trying to force jokes down their throat. Anyway, the other thing that doesn't work about this movie, and you may have told from my synopsis at the very beginning, is the entire premise of it, really. Because, again, Gene, the emoji, he tries to find the jailbreak emoji, he has another sidekick, the high five emoji, and they are going to try to get into the cloud so he can be reprogrammed and not feel multiple emotions. He needs to feel just one emotion. And it's like, alright, so the moral of the story should be, don't do what you think is right, do what society tells you is right. That's kind of, that's, okay, maybe just me sounding like an anarchist here, but I think that's a bad moral in a kid's movie. Don't be yourself, be who other people tell you to be. Okay? And then by the end of this movie, when Des realizes, I should have been myself all along. By the time you get to that point, you're like, alright, I had to sit through horrible humor this entire time, and you're just now realizing that? Come on. And the next thing I realized in this movie is that the journey along the way from, like, the beginning in Textopolis to the end in the cloud, spoiler, that's where it ends, is just, it's filler. It's just complete filler the entire time. And I mentioned at the beginning, the product placement is horrible in this movie. Because at a point, like, Jailbreak, the emoji is like, alright, we have to get from here to here, and the quickest way to do that is to go through Spotify. So they're like riding these like sound waves and everything like that, and I'm like, this is clearly Spotify product placement. At a point, they spend an entire sequence just on Candy Crush, and I'm like, there's no reason for you guys to be in here. I'm like, alright, I'm gonna compare this to a movie, because a lot of people have been saying this is like Inside Out or Wreck-It Ralph, and I see both of those comparisons as like the lazier versions of those two, but the real thing it reminds me of is I grew up with the Fairly Odd Parents, the TV show. They did like an hour-and-a-half movie called Channel Chasers, where Timmy was transported inside of the TV, and he was going through all these channels and everything like that. that. In that movie, what happened is Timmy was going through all these channels, and they had like spoof versions of the TV shows, and he was trying to like escape the villain, he was trying to get like through place to place and everything like that, and along the way he was learning a valuable lesson, and each phase he went through taught him like a different lesson, and it was kind of funny for adults and for kids to see the TV shows they like be parodied. In this, it's just, again, it's not parodying anything, it's not trying to be funny, it's not trying to add to the story at all, it's literally just saying, you know Candy Crush, we're throwing it in the movie, you know Just Dance, we're throwing it in the movie, you know Twitter, we're throwing it in the movie. It felt desperate, it felt cliched, it felt like things that we just didn't need to see happen. Guys, again, if you couldn't already tell, I did not like this movie whatsoever. I felt like it was the grade B, dumber version of the Fairly Odd Parents Channel Chasers. I loved that movie when I was a kid, and by the end of that movie, you had a great lesson pay off. Not only to respect your parents, but to realize that youth is fleeting, and you shouldn't give up on that. In this movie, you just realize, do what society tells you to do until the very end. Maybe you'll realize that you should do what you want to do all along. See you in Emoji Movie 2! Again, I felt like it was so poorly executed. The humor was so bad. The movie's just, I'm forgetting it as I'm talking about it, and I just need to wrap this thing up so I don't need to talk about it anymore, and I just forget the entire thing until my top 10 worst of the year list. If you couldn't tell, guys, I really hated the Emoji Movie, besides a little bit of visual flair here and there that I thought was good, and a few original concepts here and there that weren't ripping off Inside Out, Channel Chasers, or Wreck-It Ralph. Those are my only positives in this movie. I'm going to give it a D-. It's really something you guys need to avoid like the plague, friends. Let me know what you guys thought of the Emoji Movie in the comment section down below, and let me know what your least favorite part of it was. I can't wait to read all of those. You guys can also go over to Twitter and follow me. I'm at John M. Hayeck. Go over to mymoviethoughts.com or subscribe to this YouTube channel for tons more posts from me. Links to all three of those are in the description down below. You guys can also like this video, comment on it, share it with some friends. I'm John Hayeck, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching.